All right, guys, it's great to be back, and I'm pretty excited to make this one. Also, I got to try not to give any huge spoilers because I am making, and in the midst of making a really, probably my best video, pretty long term, and to be honest, it might be an hour, 2 hours. So it's definitely gonna be something that I'll pin on the channel, and it's something that was a huge life-changing thing for me. And I think that will be very interesting and kind of a one-on-one thing, and to really, I guess, maybe open the eyes or kind of feel the spark or something that we're supposed to have, or maybe we just haven't really got to put it out there yet, or a perspective on what life really is and kind of where this all goes and where it all ends anyway, or if anything is even important or if it even matters at all. So I guess to start, and it's something that and I've had a lot of guys talk about, or a lot of guys in general talk about it, and it's hard to kind of say guys because there's so many different groups now and in this generation. Like, for example, you have the guys who maybe do their own thing, or let's say maybe they're into the gym or sports, or some are into clubbing, partying. There's all these different groups. So I'm trying to reach an audience that we don't really, I guess, it's so hard to say, but we don't really commit ourselves to like degenerate, how do I put this? Maybe actions or decisions, right? And something that maybe we're looking for: real friendship, real brotherhood, real like soul and spiritual connections, or just trying to figure out, I guess, that's something that keeps us going, or if we're looking for someone or something. And to be fair, I mean, even when you talk to some guys who used to do that kind of partying degeneracy, and it's like after a while they kind of realize like, yo, yeah, I need to wake up. I need to lock myself in. I need to get my shit together because I have a future ahead of me. I can't just throw it all away. Something I mentioned, and this is totally like sidetrack, but I just want to put out there, is a lot of men can make bad decisions early on and actually come back from them, and become maybe exponentially better than they were before. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of the case. And the thing, it's very different with women, I say, because a lot of it depends on their early action and how they handle life early on. And I truly, solely believe that if they, and that small mistakes, it's different, but if it's like actual scarring or future damaging actions, decisions, mistakes, whatever, then it's kind of like you get that 1 or 2 chances to really kind of turn your life around and be like, for example, we all know hookup culture is really bad, and it happens a lot, and it's very, very common in this generation, especially after breakups or when girls go to college, and it's mostly chicks. But aside from that, we'll not try and go that path yet. But what happens is, if you were to say, if there was a woman, and this happens in many cases, or in some, and it all depends too, it's very situational, that if they get into that habit, or maybe they do a hookup or a couple, and there's at least some point of maybe their life or some decision, if they get it, or if they have a brain or some sort of accountability, that they say, you know what, like, if I continue to do this behavior, you stop and think, they say, or you would say, this decision, whether if I continue to do it, will destroy my life and only lead me a path that goes to Rome, just keeps going and going. Or you have kind of that early decision to destroy that and to be like, you know what, I made a mistake, but I cannot let this happen again because it will destroy the potential for my future. And the problem is, a lot of the women who kind of go that first way I was talking about, the road to Rome, they end up believing in, I'll say, like their own delusion, that they're happy, this makes them this, or makes them feel a certain way, or this is the life they want, or sometimes they're not even in control. Like their souls are gone, dude. And it's kind of way later than they figure out, and they say like, I regret all of it. You can find so many people who actually say they regretted so much of that and how much it really destroyed their life, and just the kind of society and world we live in now, it kind of conditions that for them to feel that way and think that way, so they start believing it. In reality, sometimes most of them don't even know that they're destroying their own lives. And that's the very harsh thing that sometimes you have to think about. And you almost build up this sense of like anger for kind of the things that are pushed out, and degeneracy that are pushed out to people who are very vulnerable. And not to be sexist, but specifically, more women are more emotional and more vulnerable. Especially, they even did a study that with women on Snapchat, Instagram, or that are heavily addictive on the social media and stuff, they tend to have more like psychopathic, I think that's the word. It was not psycho, yeah, it was psychopathic. I know the word, but I can't remember if they used that or a different term. But it had more psychopathic-like traits or kind of characteristics developing. And it's kind of like frightening, and that's why you hear so many horror stories of relationships and how a lot of, I guess, women turn out to either betray their partner, or they do crazy stuff, or if they're not in relationships, they're doing OnlyFans, or they're doing unthinkable things you would never think of. And it didn't used to be this way, but unfortunately it's the majority, and it even gets to the best of us, even some that genuinely started off really good. Sometimes it's just that one hook, it gets them down the bad path, and it's over, because you're not born this way. Everybody has kind of their innocence, their beginning, right? And that's something that is heavily destroyed in the generation we have now in the society, and it's very unfortunate. But so you kind of have that, and we'll end that on that note for now. So I want to get into, I guess, the topic of this video and a little bit from experience, but I won't, like I said, I'm not going to do any spoilers. So to start, is kind of the question we all really think of, is dating worth it? Is relationships worth it now? Or is even meeting somebody, or the effort to meet somebody, even something you want to do or care about? Or even if you did, if it has that spark for you or not, whether if you've been in relationships or you haven't. I'll try to speak generally here, because again, everybody's different and it's very situational. So that being said, and I'll kind of give a funny thing. When I first started this channel, when I did like the relationship videos and a lot of the, I guess, how to be more attractive, or how to, I guess, talk to women. Dude, those were very popular. And you guys remember, I don't know if most people still watch Hamza anymore, but when he was making those kind of how to talk to girls, or how to do this, or how to have confidence kind of stuff, or how to get relationships, everybody was on it, because I guess there's still a sense of like hope, if that kind of makes sense. I know it sounds really cringy, but the thing is now it's very different. And within those couple of years, early 2021, maybe 22, and kind of when all that was really going, in kind of the beginning-ish, mid of 23, when everything was on fire, like there was actually hype. And I mean, sure, we had some bad years, but I genuinely believe like 23 and 24, and especially for me personally, were the last like really good years we got. 25 started off strong, but after that and it's kind of funny, a lot of people can relate to that. They even say 2025 started off strong, and after that everything went down. It has been not the same since. I feel like for me, a version of me died in early 2025, and I feel like a part of me is still stuck in the past. But anyway, so that being said, with that point, there was some sort of hope. There was some sort of ambition, or to go meet with people, talk with girls, or try and build a connection, right? But it's kind of at the same thing. We didn't really know, because although like you can do cold approaches and meet and talk to people, it's kind of like for me, and I know a lot of guys generally, and just kind of looking back at that, kind of trying to forcefully, I guess, put a relationship with somebody. Or I'm not a huge fan of cold approaches, because it just doesn't seem very natural to me. And if it's like, oh yeah, that girl's cute, okay, I'll go talk to her. But it's like, I get it, one thing, she's based off of looks, but it's like sometimes, and I'll get this for me, like some girl might be really, really beautiful, and then if I get the opportunity, or maybe I do cold approach, or there's some sort of interaction where we talk, I'm just kind of like, you know what, it's just not there anymore. And I say that is because I think within time some things got better, but more younger men and men in general really kind of woken up a bit, but also that a lot of the degeneracy is still like kind of at its up and downs, but with terms of relationships, it's more like at a stalemate. It's kind of like dead. And that's the problem, is what you have is people who aren't really looking for connections, or they're just, like I said, it's hookup culture, it's fake, false realities, right? So we kind of have a bit of that stuff there. So I want to try and be more organized and put this to the next part of the video. That is super, super important. So I'm going to do a quick pause, make sure all this is recording, and then we're going to come back to it. All right, everything seems to be working fine. So with all of this being said, okay, what do you have to ask yourself to kind of say if it's even something you want anymore, or what kind of caused that feeling to die, or not just within yourself, but in life in general? I'll put on my perspective, or parts of it. I'll say, okay, is dating worth it now, or through experience? And I'll kind of maybe look back, and some is recently, a couple weeks, couple months ago, or even small interactions. I'll give you some examples here. So you have one thing is, it's very, very common, is guys will try and talk to girls, make the first shot, whatever. And you guys probably seen the funny like videos or GIFs or whatever, where it's like the princess, whatever, the queen's sitting in like the throne, and it's like the guy dancing and stuff, kind of saying that's how it is to talk to girls now. Because you're on this roster, you're on this lineup of 30, 50 other dudes, man. And it's kind of like you feel like you're fighting so much for something so minimal in return. And it's something, and this is very dark, think about, you have one female, and a lot of them are like this, whether if they have, and it's actually a huge pattern when it comes to like egotistical stuff, or they have these like TikTok theories, relationship theories, and they literally are having no personality at all, no brain function. And they start putting these out there, and then they make it seem like it's impossible to even talk to them, because you'll message them, might talk to you for a little bit, send a couple messages, then it'll be hours, days, or sometimes they will never talk to you again, which I get is partially part of the game. Damn, got some in my mouth. Anyway, it's part of the game, but that's what you think at first. But when you start going more and more into depth with kind of experimenting or just talking, you kind of like realize they're just using you for a number on the Snapchat, a number on the gram, or to have the attention or the notification pop up. Listen, this is how cooked the society is, bro. They literally get a dopamine rush of just that notification popping up, and their phone is full of guys, and they can tell their girlfriends, or they can try and post on their story, they can go with other guys, try and make other guys jealous. Oh, look at my phone, it's blowing up. To feel validated, to feel some sort of fame, or to feel like in some sort of way, almost like a dark kind of, not addiction, but I guess, we'll just call it like a dark fantasy almost. And it's messed up because they look at those men as nothing, as inferior, or as, I don't even know if they would consider you human at that point. And it's sometimes where you could talk to girls and sometimes it goes well. When it comes to making plans, gone, over. It's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your money if it even gets to that point. And it's just a waste of your search for another soul that you really want to connect with. Because even then, I'll give you this. This is from experience. So a little bit about this, some girl I met actually, and it was very funny. you have to be super careful about the ones who kind of, and you can see the red flags, but who kind of like attach very, very, very quickly. And in some cases it's understandable, in some cases it's totally justified, but a lot of other things come with it where you can see the red flags, but in terms where they're like, you start to talk to them and then you kind of see like they're in a little bit of that kind of, I guess, social media trend or like relationship trend stuff, or they see it on TikTok and then they kind of develop that, or those standards, or they get like, oh, I want a man to yearn for me and this, and as he should, and blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, okay, whoa. Like, it's different, but it's like, we just met, you know, it's like, I'm not in love with you. Like, what? And the crazy thing is, and this happened, this was literally within, I think, a week or 2 weeks of talking with this girl. And she already said like, you know, oh, I have this spiritual connection or this soul tie. And she was already like really easy to kind of, I guess, find somebody or a love or the soulmate. But I was like, again, let me tell you this too. I forgot to mention, I didn't meet this girl in person yet. This was 2 weeks, just phone calls, FaceTimes. And this wasn't like, I haven't even like been like this close there at all, just all the way somewhere else. And I was kind of like, hold on, how did you fall for me that quickly? And I said to myself, for how quick you fell in love, let's say, for me, I guarantee you'll fall out of love just as quick. A few months go by, not very long, maybe 3 months, maybe. And I break it off because I'm like, you know, I like this girl, and you know, she's got some things that, or whatever, that some qualities, but it wasn't that spark. And I was still am recovering from something pretty tremendous, but I felt bad a bit, but also because there was a lot of indifferences we couldn't agree on, and just kind of a lot of things they said were just because of, to please the other person, not truly because who they were. And kind of when you break that, I guess, foundation or that connection, if there was one, it kind of, I'll say, it's like when you get a magnet, right? Or like two different magnets and you flip one side or the other and then it goes like the opposite. It's like that. You kind of shift away from each other. And then you have to be careful too, because when it comes to like that, and sometimes what if it's lust or something that tries and convinces you to say, oh, maybe I do love this person. It's not all the time. You have to be very careful, and some things require time. And so the thing was, after that smallish kind of relationship ended, within like maybe 2 weeks, boom, 3 weeks, I'll be generous, 3 weeks. Found somebody else. Already had a guy she was talking to, a boyfriend or something. And then now they're in that serious relationship, which I was like, whoa, already? I was like, okay. And I left it from there. I haven't spoke to them since. But it was just crazy to me. You go one thing from saying we have a soul tie, we have a connection, we have all these different things, and to the point where, like, if there was or a little bit of lust involved or some sort of intimacy, then it's like it's just gone after, like you forget. And it happens a lot. And guys get a lot of the wrong kind of cards dealt to them. And then they think that, oh, hey, like I have a good woman, she loves me, but she might be young or immature, or she might not fully be aware of her entire emotions. That's why it's like, it's a very difficult, and I don't want to try and go too long or go into different things about it, but that's why it's and for me personally, I find it very difficult and kind of not unsettling, but unappetizing, I'll say, to like be with a girl who's younger than me by a bit, or still very like kind of young emotionally. I like to kind of have a sense of maturity and intellect, I guess. And for that being said, I'll just kind of put out there, if I'm 20 right now, the lowest I'll date or be with a girl or whatever it is 19. So like 1 year younger than me. Anything else, I won't touch it. Here's the crazy thing. If I'm 25, 26, I'm not going to marry someone or get together or date, whatever it is, or commit a future. And I'm kind of dead on the marriage thing now, but I'm like not going to be with someone who's 6 years younger than me. So if they're 20 or 21, that's too much for me. because I truly believe this, and I'll say this again in another video. 2005, 2006, whatever, any of the kids born then and then before, especially those last years of the early 2000s, we were it. We were the very, very last kind of generation to get to experience what life truly is, and the good childhood memories, and kind of before all the crazy stuff happened, and what it was meant to like have friends and go outside. And we got to live through some really good eras, and especially the early 2010s. So we didn't grow up with that Roblox or brain rot or any of that garbage you get from movie industry, music industry. We didn't really get that. You know, there's still passion, there's still color in the world, in life. And the sad thing is, we only get older by the day. And the even more sad thing is, the women only get older by the day. So as you get older, as my age, if the women you like are the same age or older, which is in my case, I prefer my age a little bit older, it's kind of more difficult, and you lose more time, because in many, many cases, a lot of women kind of lose their value as they get older, unless they take care of their morals and their health, whatever. They can actually still live and age very well, but that's not the majority of the case. And so you kind of feel like you're losing your last shot, your opportunity. And like for me, it's kind of like, you know, I had that at one point and I lost that. Well, yeah, I won't spoil anything, but or they lost me, I'll say. But then you're kind of like nihilist, unoptimistic, and then you're like, you know what if it's too late already? Or maybe a couple years I'll wait, but then again they'll be too old already, and instead of us being 18 and 20 or 21, 22, or I'm 20, she's 22, whatever, it's, you know, I'm 23, 24, and she's 26, you know? And then that's, for her, it'd be like, if she was 20 before, it'd be 6 years kind of youth wasted that you didn't get to kind of be together with or share with. So it's kind of cooked. And that's why I'm pretty like nihilistic about it, which is not very normal of me. And so I guess that kind of brings me to the point of, like, is dating worth it now? And are relationships even worth it, let alone marriage? That's going to be a separate video. I'm kind of biased, but I'm saying no because I feel like I lost, and just kind of people and that kind of connection lost spirit, soul, personality, authenticity, genuine feelings, genuine behavior, creativity, all of that, man. There's no soul anymore, no spirit, no passion. It's so dead, and nobody talks about it like it's serious, because we are so conditioned now to believe that, oh, it's whatever, it's normal now. But when you really kind of become a deeper person and you become grounded with yourself and the earth or whatever, the reality of life, or if we truly do have souls and spirits, you kind of see how bad it is here. When I mean here, I especially mean Western societies. I've been to different countries, and I'll say it's a lot better in most other countries, but I'll say the Western plague is really starting to move over there too. So what are you going to do? You know, what if it does just lead to Rome? Anyway, you guys know that saying. It basically, all roads lead to Rome. Just kind of means it all comes to an end. And regardless who you meet, whether if they're good or bad, it's over anyway. Or maybe it was over before it started. And maybe the last of us, kind of that last chance we get is this age, this generation. It's kind of your last shot to meet someone and get out there, and before everybody's too old, before everyone makes decisions or meets more people. And then if that doesn't commit, as you get older as a male, you increase your performance in finance or wealth stuff or health or anything, emotionally, physically, mentally, all of that. As you go on, you get less and less options, and you kind of get left with the leftovers, unfortunately. Is most of the case. Not saying, but I'll say this, 80 to 90% of the time, I would say it's about 80 to 90% now. That's going to be the case. Small, very 10, 20%, 10, 15% will still be the true, like, I know they're saying, oh, it's all over. I don't believe it's 100% over, but I don't truly believe that, because I have seen the actual pure authenticity and love and actual soul behind somebody, and to actually really love somebody and to really see someone as like something beautiful and amazing. And sometimes those people, even then, sometimes they go down the bad path, and that's why you can't recognize them afterwards. Sometimes you're like, I can't even look at them the same anymore. They used to be all it is, whatever, and then the evil or the desires really took that over. And then sometimes that happens, and then you know what? Years later, sometimes months or years later, they regret it, and they realize, and they're like, holy shit. That's why some of them go back and talk to you. They think, well, everyone's given up on me, or I failed, or I made so many decisions and bad mistakes and stuff. And then they kind of think back to someone who was there, who was genuine, and they kind of reconnect themselves with you and kind of themselves, and kind of like, oh, maybe I'm still am this good person. I just made a lot of stupid things. And that's why sometimes they'll try and go back to that person they were with at the time, who was there, who didn't betray them, and who was really, I guess, there, right? So a lot of the cases, most of it won't turn up well, but if someone is really a good, genuine person, those do end up working out. But it's the unfortunate reality we're living in now. And yeah, I truly, solely don't believe it's 100% that is like that, but it is getting very close. So you must be very careful. You must have very high standards, and you must, I guess, not try and worry and overthink about it too much, but just a little bit in the back of your head, be like, I'm kind of running out of time, or if you really, truly want this. And the worst thing is kind of like the fear of losing somebody, but not being able to do anything about it, being in uncontrol on how they live their life after. That's one thing if they're a terrible person, that's different. But if it's another thing where and you guys truly connected, then it's kind of afterwards, you feel like an ultimate betrayal, because you tied your soul to that person. And what if they did or they did not, or whether if it was one-sided, or maybe that you guys both truly did. Maybe things don't work out, or maybe they did take the time over time to really, whatever was, heal themselves, improve themselves. Maybe if they meet somebody else or something, you kind of feel like left in the ditch, I'll say, because your soul tie loyalty is still there, and you're still waiting for that other connection, or those the red strings they say that brought you together. So, but yeah, it's tough now, and very against it, because when you go through something like pretty rough, or whether if you had a very serious relationship, whatever it was, right? And coming from me, like, I know deep down I don't like to stroke my ego, but I know deep down I have some sort of like gift or passion or something that I can't fully explain, but I want to try and share with people. But it's something very intimate, and I don't entirely know, but I also feel very lonely because of it. And at the same time, I feel very kind of left out, because I see a lot of other people who don't really maybe have this characteristic or development, or they don't really care for the learning of intelligence. And they actually say, as someone is more intelligent, they start to become more lonely, because they're more aware of things, versus think of someone who's oblivious and they just, of course they don't know, but someone who knows the answers, who's been experienced and has been through everything, is very difficult, because they have high standards. They see what the world and the reality really is. So that's kind of like where I'm at now is, I lost that a little bit. I was going to say something really good, but that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like, I don't want to necessarily start over, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, damn, come on, what was it? I was about to say something really good, but I lost it. Maybe it'll come back to me later, but I guess from going on that point, and I know this video was a little bit kind of around and all over the place, which is fine, but I'll just conclude this video and we'll get on the next one. But I'll try being optimistic and say, if you meet that person, if you find that soul tie and you genuinely, truly know, and if you have at least some hope, or you've really developed yourself to kind of see past a lot of things, go for it, try it. But hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And just don't give up. That's it. And damn, now my voice is cracked. I need some water. It's dry and cold out here. But don't give up on that person if you can see they truly love you. Because they say unconditional love isn't real aside from your parents. That's a lie. It's totally a lie. If you meet the right person, is there. The thing is, even you could have the best connection with somebody, but if you fail to put in kind of your effort, or you have failures, small things, fine, you can work together. But if it's big things like not actually being present, not actually caring and loving, or maybe micro cheating or talking with others, you can lose all of that and you might not ever get a chance to have it again. So try it, I guess, if you haven't, and just be careful and learn from other mistakes, and sometimes you have to learn from your own. And just be careful. It's a rough society and world we live in now. But yeah, let's try it. If you haven't, wish you the best. And it kind of feels good to like imagine yourself with that, and kind of me looking back and having at least some sort of experience, I guess, with kind of something I would consider my ultimate time when I was the most happy, the most optimistic, and the most driven, and felt the most loved. And the hardest thing for me is probably the only time ever, from other relationships, families, friends, all of that. How do I put this? I'll say the only single time I ever felt truly not alone, and that I've met someone alike within the soul and the spiritual connection. Because even if there was small things, I'm genuinely a very, very deep person. And I felt like I had that, and I met that. And that may have been my only chance. Because after that, and since then, it's been the same, bro. It's been like hella lonely. Even though like you might go to friends, you might hang out, be with people at work, but I'm talking inner, like deep. I truly solely will die on that hill saying that that was something that a part of me that was missing. I felt like I was searching for my whole life. And, kind of after I lost that, and I won't spoil anything for the long video, but it's kind of been like different. I feel kind of not unmotivated, but maybe kind of still missing that part, or that soul that is waiting for that person to come back, right? But yeah, crazy stuff, man. So we'll talk more about that another time, but don't be 100% negative or nihilistic. It's not good for you. So I hope you guys like this, and I'm freezing right now, so my voice is breaking up, but I had a lot of fun making this one actually, and it went on a lot longer than I thought. So it's a beautiful day. I'm so excited to make cinematic videos like this kind of darker aesthetic. If you guys seen The Dark Knight, where he's like training in the mountains and he gets thrown off in the truck and he like gets up. That's kind of a little spoiler I'll give for the cinematic videos I want to make, is that kind of style, that darker, or like not emotional, but something. I want to make stuff that is going to reach your soul, make you feel or think a certain way or a different way, or kind of share my what I was feeling, or my pains or emotions or my happiness or my stress, whatever it is, anger. And I want to try to bring something back alive, and I want to try to make authenticity and people real again, because I'm so tired of seeing people like just empty shells now, and just kind of, I don't know, I won't say it to be too like vulgar, but I think you understand what I'm saying when you go out and you try and connect, or whether if you're in school or outside of school, and you see the kids your grade or younger or whatever, same generation, just TikTok copy and paste, broccoli hair heads, camo pants, those weird fluffy like slipper things, or dressing lazy, or at somewhere nice, you're wearing freaking sweatpants and a crop top, and it's all the same. It's all copy and paste, and it's all TikTok, brain rot, drugs, partying, and whatever. But at the end of the day, the more of those there are, once you see those people who are different, they'll really stand out. So, but let's end the video here. And yeah, it feels so good to do this, because I feel like I still get a blast in the past a little bit, and I feel like there's purpose and something to keep me going, and that I can still do this, But in terms of meeting somebody, like, nah, it won't be for a while. I'm not chasing, bro. I'm not doing anything. I don't care about any of that anymore. Yes, I remember what I was gonna say. Then we'll end the video. Perfect timing. But yeah, what I was gonna say was, aside from what I was just telling you guys about not looking or not caring, not chasing for anything, if something comes up, I'll deal with it. I'll talk to them, I'll meet them, but I'll be as unbiased as I can. But if there is literally no spark at all, I won't do it. I won't commit any further. I don't care how beautiful they look, or how guys say, oh, she's so hot, or whatever. I don't care. I genuinely don't. Looks are a part of it, sure. But at the end of the day, when you meet somebody, and it's about who they are on the inside, what they do, their traits, their laugh, their smiles. And that's why they say a lot of guys, when they meet girls, or they love girls more when they're more natural and they're not wearing a mask of makeup, I'll say. It's because it's who they are authentically. Men find that a lot more attractive, and when you see like kind of a lot of the fakeness, it's very, almost like it turns you off. You're just kind of like, it's not very attractive, and they do a lot of the same makeup style, so they just look like everybody else. And they present themselves that way to get males' attention, obviously, when it's, I'll say, excessive like makeup and stuff. But if you really know, let's say you did know who they were on the inside or deep down, you kind of realize, would these men or these guys love you for who you actually are? Or you present this fakeness, and then if it does become reality, how will they love and treat you for who you really are? Because I'll say this, okay, little spoiler, but I'm speaking exactly from experience right now. How or who or even if will somebody care about you the same way as much as, let's say, I did, for who you truly were, who you really looked like, or who you were deep down, or at least who was truly presented to me. After the instant gratification, the temporary pleasures and satisfaction, when it comes to the long-term, deep down, when you're alone, when you're by yourself, and not just for, I'm not speaking to just one person, I'm speaking to everybody too. How will it really look? How will you really feel? How much longer can you bear the lies, the fake personality, the look, the pain? How much longer can you bear that? How much more can you kill yourself spiritually, I'll say, before you completely become unrecognizable? Yeah. Well, we'll put that on that note for now, but that was pretty fire, I won't lie. I'm trying to work to be more, I want to talk more like that and kind of get rid of more of Gen Z kind of modern like stuff. I said, oh, that's fire. I want to try and get rid of that. So yes, to end the video now on what I was going to tell you guys, what I forgot earlier. Make sure my mic's still on. All right. Well, a little bit of through experience, whether if you're with family or at work. And if you guys are from cultural families and stuff, they'd be like, oh, you have a girlfriend yet? Or whatever it is, or whether if it's school, work, or friends, or, something like that. It's kind of like, especially for me, I don't only ignore it. I don't get angry, but it's like, I don't really care for it or pay attention to it anymore. Because when we're young, we're trying to get girls' attention. Oh, this girl's cute. Yeah. But we're very shallow, right? But as you get older, as you get good, bad experiences, and I'll say this very personally, as you go through a lot and you meet a lot of people and you realize, once that kind of high school idiot, thinking with the other head kind of goes away, start to realize you're looking for people who are actually are where you actually expect them to be, or you expect them to be with you, or where they expect them to be with you, or something I'll say again personally is you want to look for somebody who you can almost trust with 100% of your life, and you want to spend the rest of your life with, not just to please others, just to put an image or a standard or labels, not just to create labels. And a lot of other people don't understand that, so they try and say, oh, this girl's so pretty, she's so nice, or whatever, she's very beautiful, why don't you go talk to her? Or they'll try and matchmake you, or they might say, oh, go, that girl who just got hired, she's not bad, or she's somewhat cute, and go like blah blah blah, because they want to make drama, or they want to matchmake, or sometimes it's funny, right? But really, you bring yourself, and I'll bring myself, and I'll think about it a little bit, that monkey brain part of you kind of thinks about, oh, it'd be cool or whatever, but then you're like, what about the long term? What about starting over again? What about making all the commitments, and what if it doesn't even end up being anything? What if it was just me being impulsive that ends up being a waste of time and so much other things? And partially because I'm still soul tied that I have no interest for it. Even if I wasn't soul tied, even if, let's say things ended cleanly, I'll say, I wouldn't put myself to a lower standard just to have that label. Have a girlfriend, or I'm dating, or I'm married, or whatever. Because I want something real. I want something to live for. I want something genuine. And it's funny, people will make fun of me for this. They'll be like, dude, that girl's so beautiful, or whatever. Let's say we knew her. Oh, that girl? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Or, oh, she likes you. They say, oh, go for it. But it's like, no, I don't want to do it, because, oh, why not? Maybe because my standards, for example, or maybe that she smokes a lot, or she drinks a lot, or whatever. And that's usually the case when girls smoke or drink a lot. They're not like supermodels most of the time. let's say, or maybe she has a super high body count, or maybe she secretly has OnlyFans. I don't know, something like that. And I bring myself to say no because, as I said before, looks are a part of it, but for someone truly deep and genuine and intelligent, it's not about just the looks. It's about the inner, inside, the soul, and kind of the aura different people have. And sometimes you can meet bad people and build a connection with them. Sometimes it could be, they call it like a demonic soul tie. I'm not really into that. I think that's kind of more, wishy-washy stuff, but it could be possible. I would believe if it was a dark energy or a darker kind of soul tie, or if it was lust disguising as love, which is very possible. Might have been my case, but probably not. I don't believe that though. So could be that. And it could be something that can really actually destroy you maybe 15, 20 years later. If you decide to get married, you're like, you know what? You start regretting it, because what if you married someone who makes you miserable, who doesn't love you, and you just did it for the label, just for the whatever it is, or for other people to say, oh, you're married, congratulations. No. And that's partially why I'm not really into like the marriage, kind of how marriage is now. Marriage is more like a ritual or humiliation ritual. It's not what it used to be. I would prefer something more like a spiritual connection or commitment, or we'll put it like that, or more of like a until death do us part thing, because I just see the marriage thing as inferior now, and marriage really isn't anything anymore, and it's just divorces, money, paperwork, a government. That's not really marriage. That's not what it is. Not what it used to be. And I don't want people to be like, put labels, oh, he's married, he's a married man with a father, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want that. I want to be different, unique, special. I want to be the best I very can be. But I also want to bring back what we should be living, what true humans should be having. So let's end the video there. I feel like it was really good, aside from my voice cracks, but still working on it. So any questions or comments, let me know. I know this was a long one, but I really want you guys to appreciate this, because my long videos do really good. I felt like I did really, really well with this. So make sure to watch, and really, I hope you get value out of it. And I hope this works, because someday my goal is to be different from everybody who tries to be fake, lies, they sell you stuff. I want to be real. I want to literally feel like, I guess, I can connect with you actually, and not fake or scamming you, selling you a course. I want to build the soul and spirit and people, and develop absolute character, and be able to bring out the true people, the true authenticity inside yourself. And maybe someday we can have a community. But the battle I'm fighting is kind of between optimism and negativity. And it's a beautiful sky, but whether that sky's so beautiful now that I think about it. Oh my gosh, it looks really good today. Whether if it's all real or a simulation, or maybe those are the heavens, maybe we are on heaven, or if heaven and hell is a thing. All right, it's a beautiful day, so let's get this posted. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.